Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Dividend Portfolio Weekly Update. As of today, September 15th, the portfolio sits at a valuation of $29,991.87, and in the early part of today's trading session, we are seeing a positive gain of $44.11. In our cash balance, we are sitting on $8.63. I'll talk a little bit about what's been happening there. It was a large week for us in terms of receiving our dividends. Usually this second to third week in September or every quarter is usually a pretty good week for us, and I'll kind of get into that and show which companies exactly were paying us dividends. But for the week, we didn't perform very well. We were down about $413.67, which has actually brought us into the red for the month, and we are down $693.89. For the quarter, though, we've still stayed pretty steady, up about $797. Over last year, we're up about almost $6,100, and then all time since we've joined M1 Finance on July 2nd, 2020, we're up about $7,300, which is $6,500 in market gains and about $780 in earned dividends. So even though we've seen a little bit of a dip recently, we still have seen a pretty upward trend overall, especially if we look at this all-time chart. Some of this is due to the market gain, but also it's due to me continually making regular deposits into this account, which again I have continued this week. We'll go ahead and get into a little bit into the activity. I did deposit $100 into this account, as I do every other week. On top of that, though, we did earn several dividends from different companies, starting last week with Microsoft and Raytheon. Microsoft paid us $2.20. Raytheon paid us $5.88. And then it continued. September 10th was a big day. So we did have IBM, which paid us $15.11. Target paid us $3.93. We received the last dividend we'll ever get from ExxonMobil, which was $11.69. And then lastly, we earned a $10.74 dividend from 3M. So I did make a couple of purchases this week, starting here, which was Vici Properties. They did take a little bit of a tumble last week, so I saw an opportunity to buy a little bit more Vici on the dip. They've kind of continued to stay a little bit on the low side as we've seen a broader market sell-off. But Vici, of course, isn't a holding that I want to continue to add to as I see the value. But other than that, I also use these earned dividends plus that $100 to invest $150 yesterday into 3 companies. I put $60 into JP Morgan, $40 into Visa, and $50 into Johnson & Johnson. So I decided to do this because these two in particular have been hit kind of hard by this market sell-off. All of financials are down quite a lot. And then Johnson & Johnson is a position that I really hadn't added to in quite a while. So I wanted to add a little bit to that position. So that was pretty much the activity for the week. As far as what was, the major changes in my portfolio. Like I said, financials, although it doesn't show it here, it was down considerably, but it has since come back just a little bit. Healthcare and real estate have been hit particularly hard over last week. I will kind of see if there's a bottom here in the real estate. I could look to buy a little bit more if I see fit, but as of right now, I'm pretty content with my positions in my real estate pie. Healthcare is another one that I am looking at, particularly with Johnson & Johnson. I think Johnson & Johnson is a great company. It's why it's in my Roth IRA as well. So that's definitely a position that I'll be looking to continue to add to, especially if it's on a more of a value play. As far as future buys that I'm considering, I'm looking, again, still looking at buying more FedEx and more Raytheon. I can't guarantee when that'll happen, but I wouldn't expect it to be a huge purchase in the near future, but it is something I am definitely considering. Technology is another one I'm looking at, especially with the recent news about Apple and their lawsuit with Epic Games. That's kind of sent their share price tumbling, but Apple still almost near their all-time highs. I believe they did cross $155 a share, but this is a little bit of a drop-off since that point. So Apple might be another company that I'll be looking to buy, but that's most likely I would probably look to do that in my Roth IRA. Of course, next week I'll be making a deposit into that, so that's probably when I'll be buying more Apple. So we actually, looks like for today, we are continuing to trend a little bit upwards, even though over the last week, almost 2 weeks, we have seen a broader market sell-off. In fact, if we look here at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, over the last 5 days, we were down over 1%. For the month, we're down about 2.7%. But for the last 6 months, we're up about 5.2%. It wasn't really until the last part of August and continuing in September, we've seen a little bit of sell-off for various reasons. Probably the pandemic is one, and rising inflation concerns. We've seen the sell-off also in the S&P 500, down about 1.5% over the last 5 days. For the month, we're down about 0.5%. So it actually is performing better than the Dow. And then the NASDAQ has been hit pretty hard over the last week, down almost 2%. But for the month is still actually up 1.6%. So again, a lot of reasons for this, but we could be seeing some tapering from what the Fed is doing to kind of hold up the economy, which I think would be good, because I think it's time to stop flooding the market with cash, but that's just my own personal opinion, of course. So it's kind of, we'll see how the markets react depending on what the Fed opts to do. I'm sure if they do raise interest rates, we could see a more probably reach correction territory, to be honest, if the Fed does raise interest rates by the end of the year. I don't expect that'll happen, but if they do, that is the prediction that I'm comfortable making. Other than this, guys, I did have one more thing I wanted to touch on for this video. We did get a dividend increase from one of our companies, and that was Microsoft. Microsoft is raising their dividends by 6 cents, which is 11% increase. So they were paying, I think, 56 cents per share, and they're now paying 62 cents per share. So that's a nice pay increase for all of the dividend investors who put money into Microsoft. So congratulations to all of you for your pay increase. 11% is not something you'd see at your average everyday 9-to-5 job. So on top of this dividend increase, Microsoft also announced a new share buyback program. They're looking to buy back potentially about $60 billion in shares. This is not something that they have to do. They could terminate it at any time, and it doesn't have an expiration date, but I expect Microsoft will continue through with this. Usually when they do their share buybacks, they usually go through with it. I don't know if they'll start doing that immediately or they'll wait to see what the market does. But anyway, that should be a boost to shareholders. We should see the price stabilize, if not continue to go up as the pool of available outstanding shares goes down. So this is another great way to return some cash back to the shareholders when companies opt to repurchase some of their shares. So a company like Microsoft in particular doesn't really opt to pay a very large dividend in the form of just normal cash payments quarterly. They do opt to usually buy back shares, which is a different way of returning cash to investors, which for some people, they actually prefer that over dividends because they think in the long term that actually earns more money. I don't quite have that philosophy, but I definitely understand why people would feel that way. So just to check out what Microsoft's doing today, it's up about 1%. I assume most of this is due to that news about the dividend increase as well as the share buyback program. Over the last 5 days, it had been on a little bit of a slide before now, so it is up 0.7%. And then for last month, we're actually up about 2.8% on Microsoft. So again, guys, that's going to pretty well do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and drop a like as well as subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be making another video on Monday to follow my growth portfolio, so check that out when it comes out. So other than that, guys, I'll catch you later.